2011 NHL entry draft was held in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, and with 11 picks going into this year's draft, the Leafs would have their work cut out for them. Leading up to the big event, top prospect Matt Puempel spoke with Paul Hendrick.
Leafs took great interest in you, and I guess immediately following the combine, you were their guest. Tell us what it was like at the MasterCard Center for Hockey Excellence.
Yeah, it was it was pretty good. It's a pretty nice facility there, and it's Leafs are huge in Toronto, so it's a great hockey market. And Mr. Burke was there. He didn't say too much, but you saw him walking around, and that was pretty nice to see. He's such a an honored guy, and it was real nice to be even around him.
The Leafs scouting staff, including Gary Harker, took time to further evaluate some of this year's prospects.
Gary, you bring passion to your job. What is the state of high school hockey and collegiate hockey in these parts, given what we saw in 2011?
Well, it's pretty good. It's not the best year that it's been in the last few, but it is pretty good. Now, we're going to see some kids, some high school kids in particular, that'll be drafted. Maybe one or two of them tomorrow night, but for sure we'll see several of them on Saturday. You'll hear some names like Mario Lucia, Tony Cameronese, Steve Fogarty, and we got some kids out of the USHL that we'll be hearing about.
The day before the draft, as you guys cross those T's and dot those I's, just how busy will today and tomorrow be leading up to 6 o'clock local time for the draft?
Fairly busy. I think we had a steady stream of players coming in today that we weren't able to see at the Combine or post-Combine down at our facility. So we'll be busy, and then tomorrow we're just going to tidy things up a little bit in the morning, and then it'll be time to get ready to go over. And yesterday I think we kind of put more or less the final touches on our list, and it was a pretty busy day yesterday.
I think what I'm doing today really just is part of the bigger picture in terms of being able to compare some of the screening that I do today with the Combine scores. If the player happened to be at the fitness component of the Combine, that gives us just another piece of the puzzle to sort of compare. As much as we're looking for guys who are fit NHL ready, it's probably not a realistic expectation that that's going to happen until they mature. So we also get a chance to see the potential for these guys to develop in what I see today.
Leaf Nation tweets me that with the Leafs picking 25th and 30th, a player like Ryan Strome might be out of reach, but never say never?
Never say never. You just never know what can happen down on the draft floor, and naturally, we've prepared ourselves for any type of scenario, so you just never know who we may come out with in this one.
Toronto Maple Leafs president and general manager Brian Burke enlisted the help of the team's sports psychologist Dana Sinclair in evaluating this year's group of young prospects.
She just brings a perspective, different knowledge than we have on the players' personalities and tendencies, and just things that what we might see in the ice might correlate with what she gets with her assessment of their personalities and off-ice habits and things like that.
Dana just offers insight for us into the players, mentally, maturity-wise, because obviously they're kids. So just a little bit on what to expect, when we draft them, if we draft them, and if there's any potential problems that may happen down the road that we may want to take care of right now, like just if we can help the player mature a little quicker.
The information on those kids is really useful. It backs up, and the one kid, it backs up everything they're telling me from Team USA.
She's an expert in her field, and based on what we see on the ice and what she has to offer, we put it all together and make a final decision.
Especially if the guy's going to start in the American League, and we have control on him, and we have Dallas. Then I'm much more comfortable taking the guy that's got some issues. The guy that goes back to junior, like these kids are all going back to junior. Right? We don't have it. Even with our player development model, we don't have as much influence on those kids.
Brian also took a few minutes to inform his staff that former Atlanta Thrashers general manager Rick Dudley had joined the Leafs organization.
Okay, guys, you all know Rick Dudley. We've been in discussions with Rick for the last few days, as have a number of teams, and we are adding Rick to our staff. I think he's one of the best judges of talent that's in the NHL in the modern era. You look at the teams he's put together, I think it's just a great addition to our group. So, Judge, welcome. Nice to have you here.
What sold you, I guess, on Toronto? think a combination of Brian, truthfully Brian and the organization. I'm from Toronto. I grew up in Toronto. I see the team as evolving into something good, and I'd like to be part of that, to be honest.
I feel that we were fortunate that we were able to sign Rick Dudley. He's, I think, an elite judge of talent. I think his track record is excellent in identifying players that can play, and we're happy to have him.
There are some pieces in place. There's some very likable pieces in place, and that's a key thing. And for me personally, I just have to go out and find some things that work, and try to tell Brian about those and go from there.
A guy of that magnitude that becomes available, there was a lot of sharks swimming around him, and we stepped in and signed him, and he's going to do a lot of things. I typically do not have my pro and amateur people cross over. Usually my amateur guys do amateur, and my pro guys do pro. He'll be an exception to that.
They have a number of players that I've liked as an opponent, and I think that's a valuable thing, is to have somebody from outside come in and take a look at things, because I like a lot of the pieces.
Before the first round got underway, it was also announced the Leafs had acquired John Michael Lyles from Colorado in exchange for the Leafs' second-round pick in the 2012 draft.
Excited to be here and be a part of the Maple Leafs and the organization and the community and just everything associated with it.
Basically, he's going to take the place of Thomas Kaberle. He's a power play guy. It's a position that we I think we're definitely lacking in once Kaba was gone. And he'll step right in and be given a lot of responsibility and opportunity.
Puck-moving defensemen can join the rush. Today's game has become, the offensive part of the game has become predicated on the fourth man joining the rush. He's someone who can do that, and I think he's a player that maybe a change of scene to a place like Toronto it will obviously be very good for him.
He's a puck-moving power play defenseman. I mean, I would say the defensive side of his game isn't a strong suit, but he's not bad. He's competitive, very good skater, and again, he is a first-unit power play defenseman.
This is a new chapter for me, a new city, but I'm excited. I'm excited to get things going, to get here and be around the players and become a part of the team and just looking forward to it.
When we return, Brian Burke tries to work some magic on the draft floor.